The 11th house of the horoscope is one's desires, Cancer. And when we look at the lovely transit of Venus this month into your 4th house of inner peace, family, domestic affairs, and general well-being, we see that some desire there may indeed be fulfilled for those of you under the sign of the Crab. So it's a nice start to the month, along with the fact that in your 3rd house, which is the house of communication and short journeys and just the superficial mind, there is a new moon taking place on the 1st of the month. That's the conjunction of the moon with the sun, and that is an eclipse. So it's a very powerful one, along with the planet Jupiter and Mercury also there in that sector. So what we're seeing here is a very dynamic conjunction of planets in your 3rd house and that 4th house also being activated this month. We spoke a lot of the conjunction of Mars and Saturn in your 6th house, which had to do with your work and your health, the fact that you may not have been getting on too well with your co-workers. Work itself might have become very, very tedious, overladen with additional responsibilities. That is passing now, I'm pleased to say. And you are maybe, as a result of some of those difficult planetary positions, now having a rethink, which is shown by the retrogression of Mercury in the 3rd house of the brain and the mind. So that continues. The month commences while Mercury is in its retrogression, and that continues up until the 22nd. Some difficult aspects will be formed there. Let's have a look here. I've got my sheet here on the. I mean, I should really have a better memory than this, but I'm getting old now. Mercury, well, first off on the 3rd, straight after that new moon eclipse, moves into the conjunction of Jupiter. That's very, very favourable for you. That offsets some of the difficulties you've had in the working environment. The place you actually work in could be part of the problem there. If it's bland, if it's not comfortable, if the furniture you've got there isn't nice, if the equipment you're using is old, all of those sorts of things can, add to that frustration and that challenge that you've been feeling in that area of your life. Fortunately, as I was about to say, the counteraction of those influences by the retrogressed Mercury conjunct Jupiter. Then on the 9th, the transit actually of Jupiter out of your 3rd house into the 4th house is going to be wonderful. You're going to have some beautiful things happening there. Unfortunately, Mercury doesn't finish its retrogression until the 22nd. So no problem planning and doing all of that. But if you're thinking of buying things or instigating some new plans, then that can cause some sort of misunderstandings, rescheduling of meeting times, lost notes, emails, possessions, money. So do take care with that. And as most astrologers advise, this is not, let me have a look here, it's not the best planet for you. So if Mercury's retrograde and it's not a friendly or really great planet for you, it can produce some difficulties. And it does rule your 3rd house of contract, so I'd be holding off on that until after the 22nd, probably even into early the following month, because there's another dictum that says even though the planet goes direct, it's best for it to move in direct motion and past the point at which it went retrograde. So that's usually a few days or even a week later. Overall, though, having Venus and Jupiter moving through that 4th house of yours is very, very lucky. That, by the way, by reflex action, aspects the 10th house, which is your professional arena. And this 12, 11, 10, this 11, 10, this particular part of your horoscope still has Uranus there, which has been playing topsy-turvy with you. This counteractive Venus-Jupiter transit should stabilise things there. At least it'll stabilise things at home. Sometimes it can be a reflex action. If you're worried about things on the domestic front in your relationships, then you're not exactly going to do your best work in your professional arena. So perhaps that's part of the reason why your work can improve, because all that other side of your life in your domestic sphere, your personal life, start to settle down and have a good influence from Venus and Jupiter there. The movement of the Sun, which is your finance planet, I'll talk a little bit about that. A lot of responsibilities there. Lack of income, especially if you're working as a commission agent or waiting on bonuses. If you're waiting on a tax return, there could be some delays there. And even if you get that money, the square to Saturn shows that you may have some debts that you have to take with one hand and give with the other, because you've still got that Mars and Saturn in that sixth house of debt. The Sun, so that's on the second. The third, there's an opposition to Neptune, which clouds the issues financially. You're best not to do anything, especially along with that retrogression of Mercury. If you can curtail your expenditure all through this area up until the 7th, when there's a far better aspect to Pluto, and then on the 13th, conjunction to Mercury, and then the Sun moves into the 4th house. Again, that is going to make contact then with Venus and Jupiter. You know, you can get a more detailed analysis of this at the site, my website, astrology.com.au. That will give you more of a chronological sequence of what's going on here. I like to just touch on a couple of the themes to help you. And as you can see, that is 4th house, your domestic sphere, and the reduction of the challenges in your workplace are all a very, very positive sign for the month of September. I hope you join me there, and again next month as we move on to the next stage of the Libran soap opera. Take care. Thanks for joining me. Have fun. Bye-bye.